It's your bud, AVT Pro, Advanced Visualization Technology Productions. I want to do a tutorial. Someone asked me to do a tutorial. It's blood attache or whatever. What is it? What is it? Blood attache. Anyway, can you do a tutorial on retopology? But I agree with you on a mustard. I wanted to do this anyhow, so I'm glad you asked. And I wanted to share, I did share some of my techniques. One of the techniques that I do, and I want to say this about UV mapping as well as retopping. Like if you can recall, the character's arms were face down, but because I had to get underneath here, under the armpits, which is usually a hard part to get, and even on this one, it's even more so harder to get because of these different ridges. Like there's multiple ridges here, and there's an inside panel to those multiple ridges that I wanted to get. So there's a, if I can pull it closer so you can see it, there's an inside plane to that. Hold on. So it's not just like, it doesn't just poke in. It's also, let me click there and it'll rotate the last point that you click in. There should be another plane in here, and actually it got confused here, and so you can see that extra plane right here, but it's so tight that you can't even get in there. So what I do is I make adjustments to the model in order to be able to address those different sections. So one way I do it is like, you know, it's easier if you ever UV mapped in Maya, it's easier to map a whole arm as a cylinder. So if this was bent, I would change this and make it straight in the model in order to do it. And this I would do for UVs or anything else that was dependent on having a certain amount of accessible symmetry or symmetry, that I would basically even out this piece. As a matter of fact, if I can pull this up and I go here to Maya, let me show you this. Let me go back here to ZBrush and let me hit Go Z and swing this over to Maya. And so the base file, it'll res this down to that base file, so just the cage, and then export that. And that's the nice thing about the upcoming ZBrush 4 for PC users, which I have no sympathy of, because they already have a lot of things we don't have in the Mac version. But as it's exporting, here you see the basic cage, right? And so it's hard to get into some of these areas. And let me see if I can. Sometimes what happens is that with this, the model, the actual texture doesn't show up. So, and then I also have a UV problem, which they said that they'll address, but not to get too far off here, let me put some color up on this, a shader. And so what I'll do sometimes, and let me move it to the basic cage. So that's the basic cage. And as you can see, this looks real gunky. That doesn't keep the form. So basically what I'll be doing is when I retop this, I'll be adding, here's my tools for this. I'll be adding more geometry. And so as you can see, like if I wanted that inside section there, let me go and hit the scale and bring that, straighten that out a little bit. But what I would do is basically, so I can get those different planes and things like that, is basically what I'm trying to do when I retop it. But instead of just doing it there, which I could just do and just cut this up and all of that, I'd rather retop it right directly on the form, because I know, like, see, I can edit this and make it right, and I could have at any time just cut this and put an extra piece up around here, like, and extruded it up. Let me see if I can show you that real quickly. In order to get some of the geometry parts, like, so instead of going there, I can say, okay, I don't want that whole part. Let me take out some of this. Let's say, like, I could go here and deselect that part and delete that and then switch that back to verts and take out the extra verts that leaves. And then while I'm dealing with this, for that ridge, I can go here and double click on this and go up that ridge and convert that to faces. And then this way, I'll get rid of that one face right here. I'll just take, I have to go through here and go to faces and then deselect that one face. And then, so there's my edge, my face that I need for that ridge around that collar. I could just go here and extrude that up, and then I would have, that's not the best way to do it. Get that there. Get that. Try that again. There's a little widget here that you have to click, and then that'll take it over. And then I can extrude that up. And so I can model in that little ridge that goes around the neck and straighten that out. But instead of doing that, since I got that form, but you know, now I don't know what the form actually looks like. It's all distorted. So instead of doing that, I just retopolize it directly on the character. Another thing I want to show you and what I'm saying, if I had to, I would make a bone system or even grab these edges and say, okay, you know what, it needs to be, I'm gonna hit home and go here and move the pivot point, hit home again, and now I can, you know, straighten it out from that area. And then what I'll do is, if you have a bunch of ridges in there, what I could do here is, you know, smooth that out. You know, and quite honestly, I could take this whole character. So this is easier to put a texture on it. It's easier to put a UV texture. Let's say a cylindrical texture. If I go here and then turn it around and then change some of the settings here for that. And then it's easier to map this as one texture. Okay, so I'm just saying that as far as UVs, I could do the whole body like that and pretty much get the whole thing. So now that this will be a better object to put the texture on. So now if I go to the UV editor, you will see that, you know, I can start to break this out in UVs and start to edit. But so a cylinder will go all the way around it. Now I didn't do it correct and all of that stuff. I'm just rushing to it to show you. But my point is that you need to, if I had to, I could make this whole character, I can smooth out the whole character and smooth it. And this, without those ridges, if I had those ridges in here, they would be easier to put any other type of operations or UVs. So if I had to straighten this arm out or whatever, or bring the legs wider or whatever I had to do to make this a UV. UVs don't care anything about, you know, where it is in 3D space. You know, all UVs care about is the UV space. So it's gonna, you know, I already have some UVs on it, but it'll make it easier to put UVs on it. And so in the same vein, it'll make it easier when doing the topology. So if I had to move the arm, distort this, or whatever I had to do, if I had to smooth this out more or whatever to bring this down so that I can do it, or whatever I had to do. And sometimes I might smooth this down. This is the same geometry. I can smooth this down. Let's say, okay, this one is smoothed down, right? Right. Let me see, and then bring this back just to show you, because I do this a lot too. So there's hidden techniques that I do. I don't want to give everything away, but I'm just going to show you enough so that you won't have problems with this. And then I can go back here, and then, like say, I could smooth this down. Oops, got that color again. So I can smooth all the areas down that makes this hard to UV map or to edit. And then I'll export this. And so now it's over here. And basically, put that to object. Basically, these two, even though this one, that's the one that's missing, again, it's missing the color there. So these two are the same object, this one and this one. So I can UV map this one and also go and do whatever I need to do there, and then make a blend shape out of this one, right? And apply a blend shape, you know. So it'll be the same geometry, make a blend shape out of it, and then adjust the blend shape. So I can actually put like a certain amount of blending, and even if I make edits and I say, well, that's too much, I can blend them between. So I do that a lot too. I blend to do characters. Now this might not be a perfect blend. Hold on, let me check it. So if I turn off check topology and I hit apply, and I put delete there as well, so I can actually, once I'm done with my edits, I can blend it back in and out, you know. So this was the geometry that was there before. So the blending is not just for animation, you know. You could use it as a tool in your production pipeline. So I could UV this, that smooth out, and then UV and place that. Now I might as well show you this as well. Even if I didn't do that, and I go back here, I can UV this one, and then there's something called transfer attributes here, and I can actually transfer. I can select this one, then select that one, and transfer the UVs on it. So that's part of it. So that's why I made some of the edits to that model the way I did. But to me, in order to do the UVs, it's easier if I just go ahead and leave the character as it is. Okay, so that's UV. That's going to be UV part 1. Okay, so now here's the retop. And so this is new, and you don't always have to retop every character. And so this one I did, and I did it again, and I did do some information. I retopped this because if you look at this right here, so I had to extrude this ridge out of a very flat regular geometry, which is, I'll show you the geometry here. Here's the regular geometry, and I'll actually even break it down a little bit so that you can see. So there's the geometry form there. You know, when I first did it, I did a few parts. So I want to show you this quickly, and hopefully, because this is so meshed up, the mesh is so high, but you can even see it on this part right here, that it's pulling these points. Like you see a point coming from here that was part of here, a line that was coming from a part of here to the other part. Now I don't know if my ZBrush has crashed, but I'll explain it, and then the next one I'll just, okay, no, it's not. Okay, it just had to load that in memory, so the next ones will be easier. But see, here's that main geometry, and you can see here, like it's coming from over there. Let me see if I change the color. It probably won't change. Yeah, you might be able to see it closer, but I can't even draw. Like, see, here's the edge going here, 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 here. And as you can see, this edge is here, and there's a big stretch in the polygons because I extruded this up directly, and it's extruded and it's stretched all these polygons. You can see it here. I'll go bring it down more. One up. Okay, so when I extruded this, it extruded this basically out of this information that was pretty much even. And so there was no geometry set forth for this. And so you see the difference in these polygons, and from here, there's a huge stretch because I added this ridge. And it's nice that you could do that in ZBrush, except the underlying topology is the same. is won't be able to handle that. Now that's, it handles the topology. This is just something that I introduced. So in the topology, there, if I had compensated for it ahead of time, but I didn't know how I was going to handle it or anything. So this is a way I can go back and correct it. ZBrush does go a long way as far as topology. Like this is, I added this topology, but I don't want to have to go back in here and, it's enough for the mouth and the eyes and stuff, but I don't want to actually, I could do it better and clean it up more. So, topology as ZBrush as a total topology solution, it is very much it if you want to work that way. But if you don't, then you have options to retop. And so it's neither here nor there. So I just wanted to bring a little bit to your attention that you can get it ahead of time, and until it's only when you start adding and pulling and stretching polygons that you created that the topology becomes wild like that. So, and this is pretty wild. I pretty much stretched that. So in order to do that, what I had to do is go and redo the geometry, the topology, the facets, and keep it very even based. So let me show you. And like I say, I don't mind doing free ZBrush tutorials. I just, certain rigging stuff, there's enough out there that you can go, and it's basically stuff that I learned from elsewhere. The stuff that I do from Electric Image, I mainly had to learn on my own. So, so that information I pretty much charge for. But this is cool. So let me show you how I go. So I up-res the model, and you can see even here in the eyes that geometry for the eyes is not in the optimal place, is not the best place it should be. And so, but all I needed for is to redo the jacket. And so I redid this jacket, and I want to show you how I redid the jacket and what tools and what techniques I went. I'm not sure how long this video is right now, but I'll do it in another part because I want to show you. If I have a problem, I'll just cut this off. But anyway, so I need the jacket, and I want to specifically. I'm gonna stop this and do another video. Okay. Oops.